Hi everybody, how are you all doing?
Hi guys, welcome back to Amplify.
You look really good today, by the way.
Thank
I like your
you.
red.
Thank you.
Red is my favorite color.
Red is one of my favorite colors.
Until
Red
I-
and black.
Oh, yeah, it used to be my favorite color. Now my favorite color is brown.
Brown.
Yes.
Why? What changed?
Aesthetics. I just I just love the aesthetic of brown. It gives old money vibe.
I feel like old money is more like black or white.
It depends actually, but to me,
Mm.
it gives old money vibes, and I'm sticking with that even in my dressing. Don't mind the orange today. That's just an exception. But I love brown, by the way. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with an icebreaker,
Okay.
which is what's one thing on your bucket list that you are determined to check off in the next 5 years?
Something on my bucket list. I think I would say my hair. I want to lock my hair.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been on a very up and down hair journey. Right, I've had like different styles. I've cut my hair. I did Jerry curl. I've done a lot of things with my hair. And I think one thing I would want to experiment is locking my hair.
So, like when you lock your hair, would that be like the final thing, or you still unlock it again?
Well, I heard like people get tired of it quick. But then the thing about locks is that it's also versatile. So you can do a lot of things with it. So I heard a friend of mine tell me that, oh, she locked her hair. But then I guess it wasn't giving what she wanted it to give. So she was able to unravel it and go back to her natural hair. So if I get out of it, I'll just undo it.
Okay, so what I would like to check off my own bucket list is to jump off a cliff. Just for the fun of it.
You come up with a new thing every episode.
Like,
Why
why
jump off a
not?
cliff?
Why not? What, like, you only live once.
Okay, is this something that you want to do alone, or you want to do with friends, or you want to do with that special someone?
I want to do it with my man so that when
Your
I'm
man, you're already claiming him.
so that when I'm nervous, there's that person that is giving me the. I can do it with my friends too.
He'll push you
right?
down. He'll push you down.
No,
I'm
it
not
won't.
send you.
It won't. But the thrill, the
Mm.
adrenaline that comes with jumping off the cliff. I
Well,
just
if I'm
want to
looking for
experience
adrenaline,
it.
I'll run. Why is he jumping off a cliff down on this side?
I've tried running. I've done long distance running. So that's off. But I want to jump off a cliff. It just sounds very thrilling. Like the sound of it is just, I'm excited already.
Happy birthday to you.
I know that
Wish you
roller
luck.
coaster thing that just shoots up. I don't know what it's called, man. Like,
All these like water parks.
yes.
Okay, I
I want
think
to try that
I think
soon.
I know what you're talking about.
Anything that just makes me afraid, I want
That's
to do it.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I mean, if I jump off the cliff now, I've conquered my fear of heights. So
You have a fear of heights.
yes,
Hmm.
if I'm on a high place, I feel like I'm going to fall off. So yes, so why not just fall off? Yeah,
That's a word for somebody.
yeah, fall off. Okay.
Do you consider yourself a Gen Z, like according to what pop culture describes Gen Z to you?
No, I think I'm an old soul at heart.
Hmm.
In the sense that I just like traditional things, like having things traditionally done. Like, why try to change something that is already work? As long as you've not found something that can be better, because now it looks like what they deem as better is just defying your soul in a sense. Like, it's I'm not talking about in the sense of technology now, like in the sense of your way of life or the way of doing things. If it is not adding any value to you, why change it? Do you get? Yeah.
So like if you think about like somebody that's a typical Gen Z, what characteristics or like what traits do you think will make them, you know?
I'll say like that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'll say
Okay.
dressing, those mini skirts with belts
That's very stereotypical.
and those long boots, like gothic dressing mixed with street style. Yeah, the two.
But your Google is also.
Is my boo alti?
I don't think
I
so.
don't.
I
Is
think
it
it's just like a
alti?
revamped traditional type of
Exactly, right?
wear.
It's like I can come up one day and wear Iran buba and make it look nice. So
Yeah.
will it be alti?
I
Exactly.
think, but I actually think that there are aspects to like the whole Gen Z generation, like Gen Z vibe that I actually like, and it makes us like unique and stuff.
Unique.
For example, like the language, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like some types of
Per.
language.
Big per.
Please never things like it. I feel like there's just like there's a way we sound, there's a way we talk, there's a confidence that we show up with.
Mm-hmm.
That you just know that this person, like, they're from, you understand, the
Yeah.
young generation. I think that's one thing that I really like about it. And even when you say like the dressing and stuff, I feel like that's kind of stereotypical because they're like Gen Z people. What do we call them now? Gen Z people that, they have a very good fashion sense, clean, classy, very demure.
Like me. Yeah. So yeah. Well, I agree though.
Mm,
But majorly, what media portrays
depicts
is
them
that
as.
aspect. So they don't show the other ones that actually. So it's what is trending. So that's the thing about culture. It picks what it wants to pick,
True.
and then it puts it as the norm, the societal norm.
Mm.
So that anything that is not that looks like it's
It's abnormal.
yeah, it's abnormal. So
Yeah.
if I come up and then I'm dressing like Queen Elizabeth tomorrow,
Mm.
does that make me not a Gen Z, or is it just my own taste and style? But then because I'm a Gen Z, I am expected to look a
A
certain
certain
way.
way. Fair enough. Like wide leg jeans and
Mm-hmm.
Crocs and a Croc or
Crocs.
something like that. Like just something very abstract.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just like that we are a generation that can stand out. Now, does it mean that we should take it to the extreme and, um kind of like you said, defy things that work,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think that's something that we should address or talk about.
So for that, I feel like it's the foundation
Mm.
that is really important. Um, the generation before us, the I'll say from the parental point of view, all the things, all the structures that were put in place for their children were stricter, and then there were consequences for the
Mm.
actions.
Mm-hmm.
But then now it's like the parents want their child to be expressive, which is also, affecting the fact that there are some things that are right, there are some things that are wrong that are supposed to be spelled out. But
Mm.
because you want your child to be
To be free, to be your
free,
best friend.
yeah, to express
Uh-huh.
themselves,
Yeah.
so it affects the child in a
Mm.
sense, and then you end up. I mean, there's a good side to being expressive. I
Yeah.
mean, in your creative sense, in the creative aspect, but then it's like now you've gone to the extreme, and then you're
Mm.
now trying to validate all your ideologies as the truth, because now your feelings are valid, and then whatever I feel
Mm.
is a fact,
Mm-hmm.
which is not the truth. I mean, I can feel angry at
Yeah.
you now, and then in 30 seconds you just say something that makes me laugh, and I forget that I was ever angry at you.
Mm.
So I mean, the parents of nowadays have made feelings so heightened to the point where it's like, I mean, there should be like a balance,
Boundary,
yes,
like
a
yeah.
balance, but like it's too much. It's like our feelings are becoming too pronounced, too it's becoming too, what's the word? Um Exalted. I think that's what to use. It's
Mm.
becoming more exalted than what the actual facts should be.
Mm. Well, I feel like many of our parents, probably because of like past experiences that they had with their own parents growing up, where everything was so strict, like you said, and very, rule based. You do this and you can't speak. Anything I say is final, right? And maybe for them, if they experienced levels of trauma or levels of dysfunction, right, that they didn't want to pass down to their children. So there's a level of laxity with how they train their children. It's more of like a free, relax, you can do whatever kind of thing. But like bringing it to the aspect of a believer, right? What should we stand for when it comes to, you know, that kind of thing?
So I believe that, I mean, the authority of scriptures has to be established, where we know that we are not ruled by our feelings, but we are ruled by what God has said about us, number one, and what the Bible says about certain aspects of our lives, which should be what we are living by, because we have to remember that we're not of this world. So we're not living in the we are living in the world, but we are not of the world. We are not products of the world. So we shouldn't live like we are products of the world. There should be a clear difference, right, between what the world says and what we follow. Because I mean, we are not following what.
But this feeling of like FOMO, feeling of missing out, right? Missing out on like the trendy stuff, or missing out on what is popular, right? Or like accepted in like the mainstream,
Yes.
among mainstream youths and stuff like that. So you just feel like, oh, like if I've not experienced this, then am I truly, a young person? Am I truly living life? Am I living life to the full potential? Like I want to explore this, I want to experience this and all of that. But then you also have to consider the fact that, hey, you are a believer and you do not belong to yourself. So how like it's just something to think about. Like how can you now get over that feeling of wanting to live, but then knowing that your life does not belong to you, right? And there are clear standards that we have to live up to in God, right? But then we still want to enjoy our lives. Do you understand? So what does enjoyment really look like for the believer, for a Gen Z believer?
Well, it depends. As long as you're, well, I don't want to say something that is wrong. It's something I'm still discovering. Let me just say that, because I'm still in the phase where I don't want to seem like I'm boring. At the same time, I want to, but then if I look at it in that aspect, it's like I'm living to please other people. I'm still looking for how I can enjoy my life in the now and still glorify God at the same time. So it's still something I'm trying. Maybe when I have the answer, but if you have the answer, please tell me, because I honestly don't know like how I can, you know, because when you look at living as a believer, as a young person that I am, it seems like I'm constrained by rules and regulations. But then I look at the patterns of people that have gone against those things, and I see the outcome of it, and I see the reasons why they were even put in place in the first place. I mean, God was so merciful,
Right.
so when you look at it from the aspect of love, and the fact that a father is trying to guard you and your heart against things that can become hurts. So they might seem like pleasures now, like, okay, everybody's enjoying going to party, and then something happens at the party, and
Things get out of control.
exactly, things will obviously get out of control. I mean, so me not, there are other places I can go. There are Christian concerts that are happening now that I can actually go to, right? There are music that I can listen to that are more inclined with my own taste in, like before I was saved, I used to listen to a lot of rap music. So now I can say that I can still listen to rap music that are, godly, because now
I love Alex Jean, by the way.
Yeah,
He's one rapper I absolutely love. Like the lyrics and just the way he raps. I don't know. He has a very like deep baritone.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I can listen to his songs on repeat, and like the actual message in it, right?
Yes.
So it's just amazing. It tells you that like what is truly important is what goes in here.
Yeah.
Because it determines a lot about your life. Like if we keep saying, oh, we just want to feel among, or we want to do everything that everybody else is doing, you don't know the amount of garbage that you are letting into
your heart,
especially as a believer, right? Because our nature has been changed,
Yes.
right? We have new desires. So when we begin to pollute what God has already placed on our inside to explore holiness, right? And all these things. And then we just pollute ourselves. Then we're basically living below his standards. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then looking at the fact that no matter how old you are, I mean, you are still going to give accounts one day. So it's not a matter of you won't get to Jesus and say, "Oh, I was young. That's why."
Just you feel
Yeah,
example.
exactly. That you won't even think about it that way when you see Jesus. You won't think about the fact that you were young. You only think about the fact that you could have actually done more, to glorify His name. Because then it will not matter again that, oh, I was young and free.
Like we can get things right from the beginning.
Yes.
Like why do we have to explore so many things, dabble into what God has not designed into our soul structure?
Yeah.
Right. And then just, get into things that would take us years to recover from. It might just be like a few weeks or a few months or just exploring. Or you say, oh, maybe till I'm this age, then I'll now fully dedicate my life to God. Did you understand? Then I'll live within the confines of God. But something that you've done for just a few years can affect you for decades.
Yeah.
Like for decades, right? And I mean, it will make you think like what truly satisfies. Because all these things that people want to get involved in, what desire, what need are you truly trying to fulfill? Right? Do those things satisfy you? Or it's just an unending, insatiable desire?
Because it never ends actually, because you just keep wanting more. It's like a high that you cannot reach. Like someone explained with drugs, right? When you take drugs for the first time, you reach a height that you always try to reach with other drugs, but you never find that first high that you got. So you just keep trying to get back to it. You keep trying to, but it's like, so you just, your life just ends up in destruction because you're trying to attain that feeling that you got in the first time, when you could have just avoided that whole thing by not just, not doing it and not yielding to peer pressure. And then it also brings fact that there's actually also peer pressure amongst believers as well.
You are in my mind. Oh my God. Girl, I was about to talk about like my time when I was in school. I mean, everybody, fellow believers, right? I was in certain offices or certain situations that will not permit me to do what my friends were even doing, or what my mates were doing, what my peers were doing. Things that were good, things that were not even bad at all. But just because the boundaries that God had set for me for where I was going or for my purpose or for my assignment, right, that would just not permit me to do those things. And it's not like I would say, oh, you are wrong for doing those things, right? It's just my person. I cannot do it. You can't do it. It's not bad. It's just, I just know what is right for me. It's like how maybe somebody that's training for a race, right? You have a diet that has been planned for you, right? To help you strengthen your bodies or your muscle, whatever area that you lack in, right? Your meal is basically tailored for you, right? So I believe that as God works with us individually, we have tailored plans, right? There's the basic foundation that everybody has, as right? But then as we walk with God, God would have specific boundaries for us. Because we've been called to different, we have the same purpose. Everybody has the same purpose, like different assignments that require different consecrations. So
when you realize that you are living for the purpose of one, which is God, it's changes the whole aspect or the whole issue of FOMO, of the fear of missing out. Because when you leave this earth, those people that you were trying to, feel among with, they won't matter anymore.
Exactly.
You will be on your own then, and then you are giving accounts for the individual things that you were supposed to have done. So at that point, it would not matter anymore. So instead of waiting for that time and then feeling regrets, why not just? And then there's actually freedom in, like, when you know that you are living within the constraints of God. There's a freedom that comes with it, where there's this inner peace you feel, where, I mean, I'm pretty sure when I'm doing something, I don't know, maybe it's conscience. You can get to a point where your conscience stops, eating you up. But then I think there's an aspect you get to where when you see that you are doing something, you just know that this thing is wrong and you're not meant to do it, and you don't feel peace in your heart. So why not just follow the path that actually brings peace and ultimate, happiness at the end of the day.
Or satisfaction. Like the ultimate is to please God. So that even takes away the idea of Gen Z, millennial, baby boomer, all of those things. It's just
You and
we
God.
are
Yes.
it's me and God.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter what generation I was born in, I would live for God regardless. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. So the scripture we'll be amplifying today is Matthew 6, verse 24.
Woo.
No one can serve two masters.
You never wait for me to open this.
Sorry.
Let me open
I don't know.
it,
I'm
please.
always in a hurry.
Matthew chapter
6, verse 24.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 24. Okay.
Okay, I can read now.
Yes, please.
No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Yeah. So just know, you live for the audience of one. If you would like to follow Jesus, follow him completely and know that you are living to please him. Your life is for him. But then if you don't, or you're not comfortable in that, just
find your satisfaction in. But like, you won't say you see other people that are not running your race with you doing something and then you feel left out, right? Everything, like the Lord is our shepherd, you shall not want. He gives us everything that we need, right? Everything that God will give you is what would satisfy you, is what would make you whole, right? So you don't need to feel left out of life or feel like you're not living life to the full potential, right? You have everything that you need the moment you decide to live within the confines of God for your life, because it's actually a mercy. So yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I think we're done for this
This was an amazing conversation.
Yes. It was nice doing the talk with you.
Why do you always have to do this?
Okay. Bye, guys. See
Bye,
you guys in
guys.
the next episode.
This episode is brought to you by Hilltop.